Today we are continuing our Father of Twins interview series with a father of three, including identical twin boys, plus they're expecting their second set of twins. We discuss the differences between this twin pregnancy and the first one. We discuss some of the things that they learned along their journey so far that they're going to change or do the same with the second set of twins, and so much more today on the podcast.
Welcome to the Dad's Guide to Twins podcast, the podcast that'll help you survive and thrive as a father of twins. Now, here's your host, the author of the book, The Dad's Guide to Twins, Joe Rawlinson.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the podcast. This is Joe Rawlinson. I'm glad that you're with me today. As always, you can find me at dadsguidetotwins.com, where you'll find all the show notes for this episode, along with all previous podcast episodes. Today's show is brought to you by my first book for dads of twins. It is called Dad's Guide to Twins: How to Survive the Twin Pregnancy and Prepare for Your Twins. So if you're expecting twins, this is a perfect book to pick up to help you get through the pregnancy, know what to expect, some of the challenges that may be coming your way, and how to get ready and excited for those twins. And to get through those first couple months with them, you can pick up a copy for yourself at twindadbook.com. Today, I would like to welcome to the show a fellow father of twins and soon-to-be father of twins again, and author of the book Rocket Science for Kids. Welcome to the show, Russ Newman.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome, Russell. Tell us a little bit about your family right now. How many kids do you have, and what are their ages, and what's fun about this time of life?
Yeah, so let's see. I have two twins, identical, Lucas and Marcus, who just turned 4. I have a daughter, Diana, who just turned 2. And I also have a pair of fraternal twins due in October. So soon will be a family of 5. And me and my wife are both aerospace engineers. It's super exciting. I just love my kids, and I'm so happy that we're going to have such a big family soon.
That's fantastic. My background's in engineering too. I was computer engineering in college. I did more software stuff. Aerospace always fascinates me. So I think that's amazing that you and your wife were both in aerospace. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So when you found out that you would be having your twins, like what was the family situation like at that time? And how did you react to that news?
Yeah, it was, I was secretly hoping for twins. I love kids. And, when my wife got pregnant and we went to our first doctor's appointment, we were getting our ultrasound. And then I could tell that like the ultrasound technician was being a little cagey. And then she told us it was twins. And my wife started crying, and I was so overjoyed. And it sort of threw us for a little bit of a loop, because we lived at the time in a nice high-rise apartment in downtown Los Angeles. And then we're like, okay, second, if we have 2 babies, like we don't have enough space, and we're probably gonna need the grandparents. So yeah, we moved to El Segundo, where we could have 3 bedrooms, let the grandparents stay with us. And it was awesome. We had twins, and grandparents help us out as my wife went through her maternity leave, and both of our works were very supportive. And that got us through the first 6 months.
That's fantastic. Moving from the big city, big skyscraper, farther away, were you still having to commute for work, or was it a remote work situation at that time?
At the time, my wife was working remote, and I actually got a new job in El Segundo, and so it ended up being like really fantastic to be able to like have such a short commute. And El Segundo is such a nice walkable city, and I take my kids on walks now every single day, going outside. I love it.
Are the twins in some kind of daycare or preschool right now?
Yeah, we've done a mix of au pairs and preschool. So the au pair is really nice. After the grandparents moved out in the first 6 months, we had an au pair, and she was from Brazil and stayed with us and helped us with all the childcare related to the twins. And then once my daughter was born, the kids were old enough, the boys were old enough to go to preschool, which actually happened to be like right on our block. So we could walk them to school. And then the au pair cared for Diana during the day. And now, more recently, all 3 of them are eligible for preschool. So all 3 of them go to preschool. And we're getting ready for the grandparents to live in our house again for, babies 4 and 5. So yeah, they all go right now to preschool. which is right on our block. So we do a fantastic morning walk that goes circuitously around the neighborhood. So we get to look at bugs, look at plants, and then we just like end the walk at preschool. And then all three of them get to hang out at school together. And then I pick them up from school and cook them dinner. So, yeah, we've done a mix of preschool and au pair. The au pair program is fantastic. And now it's going to be a preschool plus grandparents. And then I probably say in 6 months or so, we'll get another au pair who'll care for the twins until they're eligible to go to preschool, around 2 or 2.5.
That's a great setup that you have there. If
Yeah.
you if other twin parents that are interested in the au pair route, how did you go about finding someone that was a good fit for your family?
Yeah, it's sort of like interviewing someone for a job. Um, United States has like a very structured program. So you find a good agency and they'll already have like a vetted group of au pairs. And then you just sort of interview them like jobs, see if they're a good fit for your family. Do you vibe with them? And do you think they'd be a good fit? And you chat and video chat, and then you down select. So it's sort of like hiring. They're going to basically be not your employee, but they're going to be a family member, and they're going to live in your house for a year. And we've done it with 2 au pairs, and they both were fantastic, and they both renewed for an extra year. So it's been 2 years and 2 years. And what's nice too is the first au pair helped us interview the second au pair so they can talk in Portuguese directly and and be our references. But it's fantastic. It's very economical compared to other forms of childcare like preschool or nannies or daycares and things like that. So we sort of done a mix of all of that to, au pairs plus preschool plus grandparents really lets us get like the best of everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Childcare is a huge expense, and when you've got more than one kid in childcare, some of these creative solutions are actually more economical, which is fantastic. So you had the boys, and then you found out
Uh,
that you'd be having your daughter.
uh,
What was that transition like going from twins to having 3?
Having the boys, the twins, was such a gauntlet that like having the daughter, oh, everything was a piece of cake. it's it's so funny thinking about like doing diapers and you're just like, oh, this is only 10 diapers a day, not 20 diapers a day. And, there was a lot of challenge and we did have a lot of sleep deprivation, but like, man, having one after two was so much easier. And, we, we didn't even need really that much grandparents' help. I think we like went back to just 100% au pair care, after like, I don't know, 2 months. And, we were just back in the groove being super parents. So I think we handled it really well. Uh, you already know how to do so many different things with the twins that it's just old hat to have only half as much work with the next set.
That's right. So now as you look ahead to your next set,
That's
having
going to be the challenge.
yeah, so you already know what you're getting yourself into. So what are some of the things that you're like, okay, I remember this with our first round. What are you looking forward to that you're like, okay, we know how to do this, or maybe there's some of the challenges that you expect?
We had to do a lot of experimentation to try to like get our routines in, and I think we're a lot better about that now. But I mean, I remember one of our little like life hacks was, we're engineers, so we actually have like a full size whiteboard, wheel around whiteboard to like do engineering diagrams on. And so like we made that our like master schedule and note taking. So we have a whiteboard in the living room and we'd write down like when they woke down for their naps, when we fed them, all the notes for all the shifts. And we just have the notes and just use that for our cadence about what to do next. And so, yeah, when our twins arrive, we're gonna just break out our old bag of tricks and just survive. I think this next set of twins is going to be harder than the first, but we'll just be more experienced about it.
Did you keep any of the infant twin gear that you'll be using again this time?
Yeah, we kept everything. We knew there was a small probability we would have twins again. So we actually have two of everything, and we kept it all and put it in storage. So we have like two car seats, the small infant car seats. So we already have all that gear. We have all the little new sleep wrappers. We have tons of our bottles and everything. So yeah, we're just gonna break all our gear out, and and we only used about half of it when we had Diana. But we kept our twin stroller, the little tandem side by side stroller. So we'll break that back out again.
That's great. That's great. You guys kept that stuff. A lot of parents have their twins, and then they're like, "Hey, we're never doing this again." And then sometimes things work out a little differently. How was the division of labor between like you and your wife and the au pair when you all got back to work, and how did that look in your household?
It was a very like regular schedule. We had au pair basically handled the work hours when that we would be at work. So it was mostly I would take point on the morning and the evenings. So I'd help the kids wake up. My wife would cook breakfast. We would do all that, and then I would help with the kids to preschool. And then around 8:30, the au pair would take over the uh, for Diana, and then we would all leave for work. And then I would come back around 5:30, pick up the kids from preschool, and take over for the au pair. And then my wife would come home from work, and then we'd have dinner. Then we'd start the bedtime routine.
Was there anything that you would change with that now as you're going to be going through that process again?
That battle rhythm seemed to be like the best. Now that we have preschool in the mix, it's going to be grandparents, all hands on deck for, the first 3 to 6 months. And then after that, yeah, we'll probably pick up the same thing where the older kids would go to preschool, and the the new twins, the boy and girl twins, will stay with the au pair during the day while we're all at work. I work from home now, so I have a lot more flexible schedule, and that's really nice. So when the boys were 6 months old and they started with the au pair, it was really fantastic because you get so much private attention from the au pair. She's visiting from Brazil. She lives with us, and would take the kids to the park, once or twice a day, put them down for their nap, and read them books, let them play in our living room, and then help with all the laundry, all the tidying up of kids' toys, and just really running, really tight ship with regards to all the children chores. And that's really nice because, I think the au pair really helped our kids be super social and really fun because they get so much more outdoor time and like one-on-one time compared to if we are working professionals. So that time between 6 months and 2 years, they got so much more extra park time and fun time compared to if they had to sort of be stuck indoors in a daycare. And they love going to school now because they're learning how to read, things like that. But it's really fun just having to go to the park and have so much fun going on the swings.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's like a perfect childhood right there. Is enjoying the outdoors and having some freedom. So now you're like 2 or 3 months away, right, from having your next round of twins.
We just passed week 20, so my wife just passed the halfway mark. A little more than halfway because twins typically don't make it all the way to 40 weeks.
How many weeks were your boys born?
My wife's an absolute trooper. They were born at 38 weeks and 1 day, and basically were like, I think, trying to recall the numbers, like 6.5 pounds apiece, which was a very healthy weight for twins.
That is really good. Yeah, it's good as far as 38 weeks and good for weight. Any complications with the first pregnancy with the twins?
In the beginning, it's just the usual stuff like nauseous and lack of appetite. And it was really good towards the end. She, you know, grew very large. It's not like she ate like a basketball. It's more like she ate a beach ball. It almost gets uh, comedic how large your wife could grow. So she was absolutely fantastic, absolute trooper. And really the only hard part was really just like the last 1 week, because it was a lot of like water gain and like swelling in our hands and feet. And that was really the only part that was like really strenuous. The rest of it was just the normal, like being uncomfortable and not being able to eat and heartburn. But besides the last week, absolute trooper. And we went for a delivery, and it took. We were trying to go for um, a regular birth, but due to like all the water and the swelling, we had to go for an emergency C-section. And we, of course, had picked out a really good hospital that had really good NICU and resources. And when our doctor called for the C-section, 13 minutes, the boys were out. It was really fast, and they gave us a little bit of a fright because they were getting a little distressed, during the delivery because there's not that much space, and they are very very big with not much space. And so yeah, they actually spent 2 weeks in the NICU, um, and they had to undergo what's called therapeutic hypothermia, where because they were so distressed, they actually got like lowered like their core body temperature and kept them like asleep for several days and let them slowly warm up while being monitored. And it really helps if they have not to get brain damage or any kind of other like more strong after effects from like not having 100% oxygen delivery, because they were starting to get a little distressed during the delivery process. And so out of an abundance of caution, they went for therapeutic hypothermia and slowly warmed up. And then, uh, that was really stressful and pretty scary for us. But after they were back and awake, they had so much energy, and they were wonderful little boys. And no ill effects of any kind whatsoever from the birthing process. So we're very grateful for that.
So in the moment, you had kind of a change of plans from having a natural birth to emergency C-section, and then it sounds like when they were born, there was probably some visible may have looked like something was wrong. Is that what your
Yeah.
experience was like?
Yeah, they were basically born unconscious. They were squirming around, and they were having trouble, and they started tangling themselves with the umbilical cord. So yeah, the doctor called for emergency C-section, and 13 minutes later, they were out. 14 minutes later, 1 minute after that, the second one was out. And yeah, they were born unconscious, which was a little bit of a fright. But modern medicine, we were in a level 4 NICU, and they did everything right, and absolutely no ill effects. So we're just so grateful for the doctors, and we plan on doing the same thing too, where we're going to give birth in a level 4 hospital.
Are y'all trying for a vaginal birth or just going straight to C-section this time?
No, we'll do vaginal birth again. Diana was born vaginally, and you know, uh, again, my wife is absolutely fantastic. We went for Diana's birth, and from like start of pushing to baby being born was 57 minutes.
Huh.
So we don't know how well, if we can do a vaginal birth again with the twins, just because there might be more complications, and there might again just be not enough room, and more swelling and other kind of effects. It just might throw a wrench in our plans, but we'll try for it and see how well they cooperate.
So now you're 20 weeks into this round. How have the pregnancies compared to each other? Like the twin versus twin, or even your twin versus singleton?
No problems right now. I'm sure the second half is going to be a lot harder than the first half, but my wife's starting to show now, and she's getting we're breaking out more of her old clothes, and she is wearing more blazers, but she's already told people at work, and she's switching jobs, and the new job too knows that she's also pregnant. And so we're just so grateful. It's it's going to be really fun having our growing family.
You mentioned moving from LA with the first kids. Are you having to move again or upsize your house, or are you going to fit everybody where you are?
No, we're going to try to stay where we're at, just so we're close to the doctor. Our au pair is sort of ending her contract, and that will basically free up our third bedroom where we can have our grandparents, and then that really helps us. We have very economical rent, and so we want to stay here as long as possible before anyone realizes they could charge us more money. But all three of the kids actually sleep in the same room, and they absolutely love sleeping in the same room. So, uh, one's me and my wife's bedroom. The third room is going to be the grandparents, and then the middle room is where the kids sleep. And we'll have the new babies, sleep in the snooze, with us in our bedroom for the first 6 months, and then we'll have to figure out what to do. Uh, once they're 6 months, probably more bunk beds in the kids' room.
Yeah, just to make a big bunkhouse. It'd be perfect. Like a dormitory, yeah. For your first, twins, the boys, were they in your room as well for those first several months?
Yeah, for the first 6 months, they slept in the bassinets, the computerized bassinets, the snooze. We absolutely love those. Uh, and then and for the 6 months, they were in our master bedroom for the first 6 months. You know, one was at the foot of her bed, or on one was on her side of her bed, and one was the foot of my side of our bed. And then at 6 months, they sort of outgrew that, and we put them in the middle room. And it's sort of funny. In the beginning, we didn't have any cribs. We did the floor beds. So they're just from IKEA, and they're nice and firm, about 4 inches thick. And we had two of them, and we'd set one on one bed and one on the other. And then they would take their naps there, but then they would always crawl over across the room to go sleep with their brother. And so every morning or every nap, we would find them both sleeping together. And so we eventually were like, why do we have two floor beds? Let's just make one floor bed. And so they're not that big. You just put the two little babies on one floor bed. And then they kept sleeping in one floor bed in a big pile until I got them their bunk beds. And it's like little cots. It's actually a really nice travel cot that's also a bunk bed. So we take it when we visit the grandparents. We can bring like the little mini bunk bed with us, and they all sleep in the room in a big pile. They rotate between the floor bed and either the top or the bottom of the bunk beds.
Yeah, well, we had separate cribs, but, when our girls started to, or, like, past that toddler phase, they actually wanted to be in the same bed together for a while. It was always fascinating to me when our kids were really little, like, the twins, how they interacted with each other. Like, you mentioned them crossing the room to go sleep with each other. It was very, very fascinating to me because we'd had, singletons before, and they didn't have that kind of interaction or how they squawk at each other, how they wanna always be near each other or touching each other, stuff like that when they're very young. That's a fun part of twin parenting.
Yeah, there for our kids' room, we baby proofed 100% of the room, and that was actually one of our like little life hacks. So they had their floor bed, and they had a small selection of toys and things like that. And what they would do is they would just wake up naturally at like 6 in the morning, and they would either talk to each other, babble to each other, or they would like crawl over and play with their toys. And that could like let us sleep until like 7 in the morning. And so because we didn't have cribs, we didn't need to like get them out of the crib so they could do stuff. They could just wake up on their own schedule and play with their toys. And then we would get them out at 7 in the morning.
That's great. That's a great setup. I love how you've, created it kind of like the safe room for them. It does give you some added benefits, they can be kind of self-sufficient without you needing to go and move them from A to B all the time. That's great. Any other kind of, engineering masterpieces in your house that have been great for, parenting?
We have our stroller. I think we always get compliments every time we go out with a stroller. It's a beast. It's a 4-person stroller. It's literally the largest one that I could ever find. We bought that one. It's made by Jeep, and it's a big 4-kid stroller. It weighs like 50 pounds, but it's absolutely awesome because, we have fun with our kids. So like we would take them to the air show. So we have like, you know, our change of clothes, our snacks, our lunches, their jackets, and we could just like toss it all in this giant wagon and have the bench seats on there and then carry them. And our wagon has been such a trooper, and it can carry 3 kids, carry 4 kids. But, we have 3 kids plus a bunch of gear. And like, it's getting pretty beat up. I'm probably going to buy a new one. But like that giant monster of a wagon stroller it's been a lifesaver.
That's one thing that catches you off guard is how much stuff you need to take with you. It's not just the kids and something, but all the diaper bag supplies, the snacks, change of clothes, everything.
Yeah, we've gone pretty light now that, they're 4 and 2. So we're going to sort of have to do a big reset on the gear. But, with the 4-year-olds and the 2-year-olds, sometimes I can like walk to our local farmer's market with like no diaper bag because they're potty trained and no anything. We just, all 3 of us walk together and go to the farmer's market and like go get some popcorn and some French fries and have some fun and then all walk home. And but yeah, no, once we have babies, we're gonna have a big reset with bottles and diapers and all that gear again.
Yeah, somebody will be walking or wanting to push the stroller with the new babies, I'm sure. You mentioned potty training. Any tricks with that work for potty training?
We read a really good book called How to Potty Train Kids in 3 Days. And it doesn't quite work in 3 days, but you can get like 75% of the way there in 3 days, which is actually really good. They were potty trained somewhere around 2. Diana, my daughter, has been hitting her milestones always much faster than my boys. But yeah, we found what they liked, which was peanut M&Ms, and we always had a little teeny Tupperware jar full of peanut M&Ms, and they always got 1 for going pee or 2 for going poop, and it was always tons of celebration, and we would, uh, always reward them, always hype them up, try to get them to keep going, and yeah, what we did for that 3-day weekend, it was a 3-day weekend, and what we did is a big ceremony where we did big boy no diapers, and we made a big ceremony where we got a box out and we collected all the diapers in the house and we all threw them in the box, and they're like big boys no diapers, and we gave them their like underwear in a big fanfare. Then we took the box of diapers out and threw it away, and they had their big boy underwear. And then on that weekend, we fed them as many snacks as we could, and they just were around the house in their underwear. And I got them miniature camel packs, and we filled it up with water, and we were just trying to get them to just drink as much water. We were feeding them as much salty chips, and then we're trying to get them to go pee like every 30 to 45 minutes. And we just did that nonstop for 3 days. And that was like the kickstart to the potty training. And then from thereafter, they've been 75% potty trained. There's a long tail. It takes them a long time to get like 100% everything. But it was amazing to just get like only 1 or 2 accidents a day. And then, only, a few accidents a week. And then, of course, now they're 100% potty trained. But yeah, big boy, no diapers. Ceremoniously throw all the diapers into a big thing, get their big boy underwear, make them wear their camel packs. So they're running around on their scooters inside of our house, like sucking on the little hydration hose.
Yeah, that's a great setup. So Russ, let's talk a little bit about your book. You've written a book, Rocket Science for Kids. What was the impetus for this book?
I'm a rocket scientist. I worked at SpaceX, worked a couple of the rocket companies, and I'm super interested in space. And I had this idea of like, I have kids. I want to like buy a book that talks about rockets. And when I actually looked at what books were available, and I've bought basically every book that could be purchased, and I found that there was like sort of a missing segment. There was a bunch of baby books that were all very silly, like rocket goes up, zoom, and there's a bunch of books for middle schoolers to have like 200 words on a page. And there actually was no high quality book that was meant for kids like 4 to 5 years old. that's like a true introduction to rocket scientist. So I decided to make one, and I asked my wife. I'm like, hey, can I make this book? And we agreed to do it. And so uh, it was a passion project. I had to go find an illustrator. I interviewed, found one that I really jived with, that really liked her art style. And then over the course of 4 years, I helped her do all the illustrations, dial it all in, and really create what I think is the best book on rocket science. It's only 1,000 words. It's 100% technically accurate, and it has over 60 pages of full watercolor illustration with animals explaining every single detail of rocket science. And it's full of totally real engineering. And it's only 1,000 words, and it's so beautiful and so colorful. So I started it before the kids were born, and then I only got to publish it last year. It's really hard to make a children's picture book, but I'm just so proud of it. And it's such an amazing book, and I've just been getting so many great reviews. And my kids too have seen every single version of it, because of course as I drafted the book, I would show them the manuscript, and I edited each and every page to really dial it down. It's really hard to explain rocket science in only 1,000 words without getting into gibberish baby talk.
Well, it's not an easy task to write a book. It's not an easy task to do that while raising small children. And it's definitely mixing the rocket science and simplifying concepts so that they can be taught to children and understood. So congratulations on the launch of your book and the good reviews you've had so far. If listeners want to pick up a copy of the book for themselves, where should they go?
Yeah, so it's available on Amazon and everywhere books are sold. And I can also provide a link you can put in the show notes where you can buy it direct from my publisher, and they'll be able to get it at a lower price even than Amazon.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, I'll link that up in the show notes for everybody listening so you can pick up your own copy for your own kids and help those future rocket scientists. So Russ, as we wrap up today, in addition to the link in the show notes for your book, if listeners want to connect with you, what's the best way to reach out?
Awesome. They can reach out to me on my personal website, which is russellnewman.com, or they can follow me on social media. I have the same handle every location, which is Russ Reads Books, and I'm most popular on Twitter.
Fantastic. And I'll link up to all that on the show notes as well, so people can connect and reach out to you. Russ, thank you so much for sharing your story with us today. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, thanks so much.
I hope you enjoyed that conversation with Russ about his adventures as a father of twins, plus one and soon to be an additional set of twins. You'll find all the show notes for this episode, including the links to his book and how to reach out and contact Russ over at twindadpodcast.com. Once again, that's twindadpodcast.com. If you would like to share your story like Russ did today on the podcast, I would love to hear from you. You can reach out to me, email joe@dadsguidetotwins.com, or also on Instagram and X. You can message me at twindadjoe, and I would love to hear from you. And maybe we can share your story on a future podcast as well. If you're still expecting your twins, I invite you to pick up a copy of my book, Dad's Guide to Twins. You can get more information about that book at twindadbook.com. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next time.